to the Education Over There podcast. I'm Sheena Hogan. I'm so glad you joined. This is a place where I give practical financial tips that anyone can understand and you can begin to implement now. Season 2 is all about relationships and money. Each week, I will have a guest come onto the show and they will share with you their journey. My hope is that you will leave this conversation with a new perspective, tip, or strategy that you can implement now. The Education Over There podcast is now streaming on Spotify, so be sure to check us out there and become a monthly supporter for as little as 99 cents per month. And if you haven't visited our website yet, please check us out at educationoverthat.com so that you can learn more about what we're doing in the community. The purpose of the foundation is to provide scholarship monies to students obtaining their bachelor's degree. Today's topic is time is money. My guest is Miss Sygie Jackson. Sygie is a leading millennial voice for personal development, freedom-filled entrepreneurship, and hashtag creative strategy. She is a business owner, author, trainer, and founder of Radical Communication, a boutique agency for digital marketing and communications. Fueled by the motto, we rise by lifting others, Sygie loves speaking to new moms, creators, entrepreneurs, community leaders, and executives. Before Radical Communications, Sygie worked in the financial industry as an award-winning sales and marketing professional. Sygie now teaches experts, professionals, and creative entrepreneurs systems that allow more freedom in their business without being glued to their phones or computers all day. Sygie is a yogi tea sipper and a Post-it fanatic. Please help me welcome to the show, Miss Sygie Jackson. Hi, Sygie. How are you doing today?
Hey, Sheena. How you doing? I'm good.
Thank you for joining me today, Sygie. I always like to start off by giving people a little bit of history of how we met. I met Sygie at a women's conference for our job. It was our first women's conference, and we actually met on the last day, and I was really hoping to meet someone who I could build a relationship with as I was new to the sales industry, and I met Sygie, and we've been friends ever since. So Sygie has totally helped me with a lot of stuff with marketing and just support, encouragement, working in sales, and we've been able to go to some great conferences together. So thank you, Sygie, for everything that you've done, and I'm so glad to have you on my show today.
Thank you for having me, Sheena.
So let's get right into it. Sygie, how did you make the switch from the financial industry into digital marketing?
It was a transition. So in 2015, I want to say, my company, the company I was working with, I don't know if I could say their name, but they laid us off. Basically, we went into work one day and we were escorted out like by security, basically, and they said, leave everything, take only your items, meaning your purse. Basically, when I went to work with the job one morning and I left, I didn't have a job, so I was already feeling some type of resistance at that moment, but I felt like that was like a push from God, like, okay, now is your time to do whatever it is you want to do, like figure it out now. And so I've always been interested in writing. I've always been interested in like storytelling and just like creating stuff. And so I went home and I had my computer, I had my thoughts, and I had all these ideas in my head. So I really kind of just started Googling. Like, I started a blog. I started with my own personal blog. And like I said, it was first just ideas that I had in my head or thoughts that I had in my head. And people start liking it. They start loving it. Like, then they started looking forward to it. And then I transitioned to like creating my own social media posts. And people basically help me create my business by asking, well, can you do that for me? And then it just progressed from there. My skill, which is writing, I went on to write books, and I've helped other people write books. Honestly, Sheena, I really started with myself, and I've always been my first customer, and it has grown from there. So to answer your question, I was pushed from the financial world to digital marketing.
Oh wow, wow, that's amazing that you was pushing. You just went for it. You started with yourself. You learned what was the best ways, or you just learned, I guess, by putting it out there, seeing what people like, what people gravitated to, and then they start asking you for help on how they could do the same thing for themselves and their businesses. So that's great. So 2020 happened, and it seems like everybody was online. How did that impact you and your business last year?
Absolutely. Well, I guess I left out one thing. Like I did go to college for marketing, so I do have a marketing degree. Like I always forget to say that part. So I do have an interest. I did have an interest in marketing, but it's so broad. Like marketing is not digital marketing. Like, marketing is just so many different aspects of it. Um, One of the things I just landed into was the digital marketing piece. 2020, whew, Lord. So 2020 was a very interesting year for I think all people in general, especially people in America. Like I feel like what should I say? 2020 separated the real from the fake, the truth be told. So, but I can say my business did really well in 2020, mainly because I do focus on a digital platform. I focus on digital systems and digital automation. People want to transition online now, like, and it's not just the new companies. Now we even have mom and pop shops that want to portray a social media image or a digital presence so they can do e-commerce and ship their products, because we were all stuck in the house, so we had to pivot and make changes to our business. And I think 2020 forced everyone to figure out another way, and don't just settle on one way of doing things.
Yeah, that's so true. And I felt like you were saying about the whole marketing and everything. It was a school, I think, Lewis University in 2016. They actually started offering a social media marketing as a major. And so now we're seeing the growing trends in the digital side with social media. And like you said, 2020 really forced everybody to jump on board, because you can no longer just be like a mom and pop or say you're not into that, because that's where we were. Everybody was online. So you had to get that presence. And it's good too that you have helped people develop the strategies so that they don't have to be glued to their phones. I think that's so good because I hate it. I hate social media. And you help me see like different ways I could create strategies to do it. And share with me, like, when you work with clients, how do you help them develop like what type of things that they should post when they post it, if they posted it, strategically, or scheduling it, things like that.
Right. And I go back and say, like, I'm always pretty much my first client or my guinea pig. And so the idea of keeping, business owners, entrepreneurs, off their phone and off their computer all day, because I was that person, like having kids and working working in my business and working on my business, I felt like I always like checking, emailing, sending, all those kind of things. So the first step is, when I'm working with someone, we sit down and we write out what you already do, because the whole plan is to automate what you already do. And sometimes people have a hard time with that because it's not systematic, and that's why they think they can't automate it. So I help them create a routine, basically, and then we figure out how we can automate some things. And a lot of things, the most common things that people can automate is um, the sales process, as far as checking, the actual transaction. E-commerce, like sending people, you can create a e-commerce website for that. Like some people like to say, hey, cash out me this, and then I'll mail it to you. But you can actually just create an e-commerce website and send people to your website, and they can view the products. You can answer all the questions, they can check out, and it can be ready to ship all in one little click versus the back and forth.
Mhm.
what size and what color. Like, you don't have to do all of that. You can
Mhm.
automate that. Another thing is communication with your I'm saying guests, your followers, your customers, your clients. You can do that through scheduling, creating and scheduling social media posts. There are a lot of platforms that you can do that on. Um, your email is another way to communicate with your audience, whether they're prospective clients or current clients or um, clients that you've serviced in the past. You can um, create a strategy, and you really can sit down and write all your emails for the whole year, if you know what your plan is. um and the last thing most people um can automate, but they don't think about it, is like the onboarding process, um that nurture, like, know, like, and trust factor. A lot of people, like, when you get ready to service someone, and, like, let's schedule a meeting, Sheena. And so you don't have to say, well, CG, what time? You can say, hey, CG, here's my calendar. Let me send over my calendar. And you pick a time that works best for you. Like, it's just the little things that, because minutes turn into hours. So I believe if we can take those little minutes away from your day when you have your phone in your hand, then that gives you more time to spend with your family, doing the things that you like to do, start on passion projects, or even work on another stream of income.
That's good. And I think by you doing that, saving minutes or minutes, saving hours and minutes, I think people can see the value in that. And I think last year, everybody was thrown in the fire with going online and doing the social media so people don't forget about me. Hey, I'm still here. Hey, we're still in business. And like you said, with the whole onboarding process, setting up things where they can schedule if they want to do a conversation like consultation, we could schedule it. We don't have to keep going back and forth. And even with the e-commerce, with the sales, so you don't have to go back and forth and what size, what color, and
Right.
when you need this by, and the shipping piece. I always forget about shipping. I was like, oh yeah, I can get that to you. And then I totally forget to charge for shipping or something.
Absolutely. And that's the thing. It creates a more consistent business. You can predict your income more. You can schedule out your day more because you know already what's going to be done, and you don't have to stop your day to set you don't have to set aside 2 or 3 hours just to set appointments. You can't take the human aspect out of business. People want to feel that warm and feel like nobody could be here today but Sheena, but we didn't have to go back and forth on um how we were going to get here. That's the thing. Those are the things that can be automated, the how, not necessarily taking you away from your client, but you showing up when it's time and letting your systems and your tools basically fill in the gap. And it's kind of like hiring a team member or an employee.
That's good. Hiring another team member by digitizing or scheduling systematic, appointments and calendar invites. That's really
Right.
good. I
Yeah.
probably need to.
Like a virtual assistant, basically. Yeah.
Yeah, that's really good. That is
But
really
cheaper.
good. Right. That is really good. I probably need to look into that a little bit more. This is my second season for the podcast. And so this season I'm inviting guests. Next season I'll probably invite guests too. So I could probably do some of that with the inviting of the guests and setting it
Right.
up. And even another point you said was creating your emails for the year. I think that's important, or that's a good thing, because for me personally, I don't always think out like what I want to say throughout the whole year. But if I could be a little bit more intentional about what I know what I want to do, so then how can I develop emails that coincide with the things I want to do? What do I want to say to people? How do I want them to perceive what I'm doing and give or what have you? So that's even good as far as do you help people come up with what they need to be talking about during the year based off their
Absolutely. I was
goals?
just about to say that. I can Okay, so we can do it real quick. So so the easiest thing for me, I'm a super simple person. Like, I don't like to overcomplicate anything. That's probably why I'm into systems and automation. So when you think about yourself, um, the way I start planning content is I'm asking my client, okay, so what are your 4 pillars? When you think about a building or a foundation, like, you know, you have the foundation blocks, like a square. Think about a square. So what 4 things are holding up your business, or what 4 things do you want to be known for?
Mm-hmm.
Think about those. And it can be like, if you're a hairstylist, everything you talk about on your social media doesn't have to be about hair.
Mm-hmm.
But when you think about your business, what it represents, like your brand mission, think about those things. So it can be, if you make wigs or custom hair pieces, that can be one. Like, when people think about you, they can think about luxury, or customized hair units, or if you specialize in, if you have your own products, hey, I want them to think about me when they're at home trying to style their daughter's hair, like my products. So at home care, you want them to think about you as well. And then maybe, like, if you have a hobby, you know, or something that's of interest to you.
Like traveling, for instance, you want them
Traveling,
to think about
right,
you
right.
like their hair
So
is gonna be laid when they go somewhere.
right. So you can even give, like, on travel hair tips, like when
Mm-hmm.
you're getting ready to go on a trip, make sure, or you can just show your life when you're traveling. What do you pack, basically?
Mm-hmm.
And you'll be surprised how many people want to know what you do. So every day, just like the simple things. And then, like, the last thing, like, if you have a family, like, this is a sticky situation. I don't prefer to put my kids on the internet a lot. Like, sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. But if family is something that you want your brand mission to be about, I would include that. So when they think about you as a hairstylist, they don't just thinking about coming in to sit in your chair those um 60 to 90 minutes. Like, they can see your whole brand, which would include making hair pieces, at home care, traveling, like you said, and then family. So I would break it down. There are 4 quarters in a year. So to make things easier, I would pick one one pillar per quarter and focus on that one thing. So in the first quarter, your post would mainly all focus on hair units. So you would create emails about, not necessarily sales emails, but how to, this is 5 tips to style your wig, or what to do with your wig at night, or, like, think about what questions your audience has about your service or product. Like, take yourself out the expert chair and think about me. Like, what was CGB asking, or what was Sheena ask about my services, and make those into posts. And you can basically say the same thing. I always start with a big, you can start like your videos, Sheena. You can start with your videos. That's a big chunk of content. Like, it takes time to make these videos. Blog posts, it takes time to make blog posts. So you start with something big, and then you break that particular big item down into like 13 smaller items for your email, for your social media, um, and other content. And that way, it appears that Sheena is everywhere at the same time. But only Sheena will know she's saying the same thing over and over. They're just saying it different ways.
That's really good, CG. That's really good. Definitely gonna take some of those nuggets back.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
That is really good. And
yeah.
I think when you say it like that, you make it sound easy, like as far as like doing it for a whole year, what you want to focus on this quarter, next quarter. If you did, with 4 pillars, that helps you to streamline it a lot easier, helps you to not be stressing out over it when the new quarter comes, because you already thought about it on the front end, and then you can
Right.
systematically keep it going. So that's really good right there. Like,
Another thing, can I ask, Sheena?
mm-hmm,
Another thing is, you have to know what your goal is. So for a year of content, for me, may be different for you. So you have to decide ahead of time, like, what is my goal? What is a year worth of content for me? Like, am I gonna make 12 one video per month? And that'll be 12 videos. Or am I gonna send out one email per week? That's 52 emails. Like, you have to go ahead and decide what that looks like for you, because it's not the same for everyone.
Right. That's good. That's good. And in different business or different industries will require differences. So like in let's say the food industry, you may be sending out more often, but here maybe not so much. But travel maybe not so much or what have you, or certain seasons, I would say. So
Right,
yeah.
right.
So
Yeah,
yeah,
so it's all about creating a strategy. I try to focus on creating something that works for you, because it's no cookie cutter
mhm.
formula. And if you feel like you're forcing, like, oh, this is, so I gotta write this other, like, it becomes stressful. And like I said, I'm simple. I like to be simple.
Yeah, that's good because I'm more of an I will be like stressing, like, oh my gosh, what should I be saying now and
I
all
don't.
that. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
I
I
don't
think
even like
it's
that. Yeah.
I think it's even good to realize that sometimes this stuff takes time and sometimes things change right through the process, Because I think sometimes for me, I may get like in my head about it too much and then I kind of don't want to do it. But if I just realize that, hey, you could break it down in smaller chunks, you could change it along the way and just put it out there and see what works, what don't work. But
Absolutely.
but you gotta start and you gotta try.
And you
That's
gotta
like,
do.
yeah.
Yes, you have to do. That's the thing.
Yes, you have to do. So 2021, what are you looking forward to this year?
2021, I am looking forward to servicing. Oh, I am looking forward to servicing my clients more, like over delivering. Like, I am excited about, like, just being that person to help them reach a new level in their business, free up some time so they can start doing the things that they want to do, create more happiness for entrepreneurs and business owners. Um, Basically get them off the phones and off the computers and let them live a little. And that's one thing that my business does, is take care of those social media communication issues. So that's what I'm looking forward to.
That's good. And it really does help to free up time. And, I think it's a blessing, because I'm not a social media person. And so to having someone coming alongside you to help you do all that and strategize and post it, that is great. And then also with the e-commerce piece and just having that stuff already set up so you don't have to worry about it, also great. So yeah, that is totally value add. I think a lot of people will see the value in that for 2021, especially from 2020 and seeing how things change. Now you want to keep it going.
Right, definitely.
So I do have some questions that I like to ask, some rapid fire questions. And so I'm gonna ask it to you. It's just a few questions. Some of them are fun. First thing that comes to mind, and just let me know what you think. So my first question is paper or plastic?
Plastic.
Plastic. Okay. If your life was a movie, what genre would it be?
Oh my goodness. It would be, oh, what is it called? A rom-com, romance comedy.
I guess I've said romantic comedy, like
Yeah,
for real.
yeah.
One piece of advice that you think everybody should know or that we should completely disregard.
Say that again. I can hear you.
What is one piece of advice that you think everyone should know or we should totally disregard?
Mm, one piece of advice. That's a good question, Sheena. I don't. I think. Well, I can answer both. One piece of advice I think we all should know is everything starts with you, and you have to believe in yourself first before you can do anything else. And something we should totally disregard is unhealthy traditions.
Oh, now that's deep. How do you know if it's an unhealthy tradition?
You know, you know first. You're the first person that knows. Yeah, I mean, when you feel resistance, like if you, I think, 2020, I think a lot of things were traditions were broken last year, and I think it was a good thing. Like, because some people, I didn't notice that some people hate being around certain family members, and the only reason why they were being around them is because it was a tradition. Like, but these people are having to talk to their therapist just to go home for Thanksgiving.
Yeah,
You
that was
know,
a common theme. Yeah, that was common. Yeah.
yeah. So things like that. That's what I mean.
So whenever you feel like it no longer serves you, then
Serves
you
you
probably need to break the
definitely.
tradition. Yeah. And
Mhm.
it's good that you say start with you and believing in yourself. You was the first person that kind of put me into the whole motivational speaking.
Oh my
Like
God.
you share with me, Les Brown and Lisa Nichols and Eric Thompson, and we even went to a conference together. So that was
We
it was
have to
big for
go
me.
somewhere this year. Yes. Sheena, I forgot to tell you that um so I've actually started training as a speaker. So that is another thing that I am looking forward in 2021. Speaking and training, doing workshops on personal development. I'm training under the John Maxwell team. So I will be graduating in August in
Okay.
Orlando. So maybe we can go there.
Okay. Yeah. We could do that. How would you define success?
Mm, I would say just achieving your desires.
Achieving your desires. And then in 3 words or less, how would you describe yourself?
In 3 words or less.
You want me to give you a word?
I
No.
would say lead by example.
That's good. Lead by example.
Yeah.
That's good, CG. You totally lead by example. You're super creative and you encourage other people to tap into that creativeness so that they could be the women that God called them to be and really serve the people that they're called to. And so thank you so much, CG, for doing this podcast with me. How can people get in contact with you?
Well, they can follow me on Instagram. My handle is I am SYGIE. Twitter, same. YouTube, same. I am CG. My email is hello@cg.org. You can contact me there.
All right. Well, thank you, CG, for joining.
All right. Thank you, Sheena, for having me.
All right. Bye
All right.
bye.
Bye bye.
Wow, that time with CG was amazing. She taught us the importance of creating systems to save time. She also taught us how we can identify 4 pillars to create those systems that we can incorporate over a year or maybe even longer to serve our customers. And then last but not least, she taught us the importance of being yourself. It all starts with you. So get started today because the community that you serve, they're waiting on what you have to offer. We thank our guest, CG Jackson, for joining us on the Education Over Dead podcast. Thank you all for tuning in to the podcast. And if you haven't already, check us out on Spotify and become a monthly supporter. Also, check out the website, educationoverdead.com, so that you can learn more about what we're doing in the community. I am Sheena Hogue. Remember to live life, love life, and be well.